Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So our group is from the TESOL option from semester 1, year 1 for the subject Bahasa Melayu Komunikatif and Storytelling in the primary ESL classroom. So before we start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nur Amalia Shazwani binti Khairul Razumi, and these are my group members, which are Ahmad Muaz bin Muhammad Ali, Wan Nadiah binti Wan Salmizan, and last but not least, Norman Hussein Long bin Sofian Long. So let's see the overview of what we're going to talk today. So these are the table of contents. I'll be explaining the CLO, big idea, and essential question, followed by continuous assessment for both of the subjects by Nadia, and then teaching and learning session for the subject Bahasa Melayu Komunikatif by Muaz, and teaching and learning session for storytelling in the primary ESL classroom from Norman. And last but not least, I'll be doing the impact. So let's see the course learning outcome for the first subject, which is storytelling in the primary ESL classroom, where the CLO match in the CLO2, which is design storytelling activities using appropriate techniques for a primary ESL classroom. And next, for Bahasa Melayu Komunikatif is CLO3, membina karya bukan kreatif atau karya kreatif dengan mengintegrasikan gaya penulisan yang berkesan mengikut konteks. So next, let's see the big idea of these both subject, which is kepelbagaian bahasa membuka ruang imajinasi baharu dalam seni, pendidikan, identiti, dan diplomasi budaya. So, what are the essential questions? So, these are the essential questions that were given by us, which is the first one is, bagaimanakah bahasa Melayu dapat berfungsi sebagai bahasa perantara yang bersantun dalam dunia pelbagai gaya? Next, how can storytelling activities be innovatively designed to support children learning English as second language? And last but not least, sejauh manakah bahasa dapat membina kreativiti dalam komunikasi merentas pelbagai budaya? That's it from me. Now I'm passing to my group member, Nadia.
Thank you so much, Amalia. So right now, I will be presenting about the pelaksanaan pentaksiran berterusan for the subject TSLB 3483 has an interdisciplinary with the subject from the Task 2 e-portfolio and for the subject MPU 3112m in the tugasan 3, which is penulisan. So for the pelaksanaan task 2, product e-portfolio, the linguistic diversity enhances creativity through multiple languages and cultural experience. BBM, such as picture cards, puppets, videos, and digital media, supports the imagination and meaning making. Students can express ideas through drawing, drama, music, and storytelling, while combining languages enriches the imagination and inclusive artistic expression. Next, for the pelaksanaan task 2, which is the product e-portfolio, this pentaksiran bertulisan also the stories accessible for ESL learners from standard 1 to standard 6. Graded language can be used to suit different proficiency levels, while the lower levels use short sentences and repeated patterns, while the upper levels engage in the guided discussion and simple writing tasks. All the learners can participate meaningfully regardless of their proficiency. And next, for the pelaksanaan tugas 3 for penulisan, the story supports ESL learners through Malaysian cultural elements and values. Values such as respect, cooperation, and family relationships are highlighted, while familiar references help learners to relate to the story. Learners can connect new English vocabulary with their own experiences. This also strengthens the language learning and cultural identity. And lastly, for pelaksanaan tugas 3 penulisan, the story also introduces the Western cultural elements in a simple and a non-threatening way. External cultural elements are presented alongside Malaysian moral values. Values such as ikut kata orang tua are maintained. Learners understand the cultural differences while preserving local ethics. The story also promotes tolerance, intellectual awareness, and respectful communication. So now I will be explaining the interdisciplinary connection between these two subjects. The interdisciplinary connection between the subject TSLB 3483 Task 2 and MPU 3112m Task 3 can be clearly seen through storytelling. Firstly, TSLB 3483 focuses on the creation of the storytelling product through the e-portfolio, while MPU 3112m focuses on the performance of the same story. This shows the continuity between the product creation and the performance. Secondly, the SLB 3483 develops English language skills through graded language, creativity, digital tools, whereas MPU 3112M reinforces the moral values, cultural awareness, and ethical understanding through storytelling performance. Finally, These both subjects integrate the language learning, second, creativity, and lastly, the cultural and moral values. These interdisciplinary approaches supports the holistic learner development by combining communication skills with character education. And as a conclusion, both of these subjects are strongly connected through an interdisciplinary approach. The storytelling product created in TSLB 3483 becomes the content performed in MPU 3112m, making learning more meaningful, creative, and value driven. That is all from my slide. Thank you so much. Now I will be passing the presentation to Muaz.
Thank you, Nadia, on the explanation on the continuous assessment task. So now, allow me to continue on explaining about the teaching and learning for the course MPU 311M, Bahasa Melayu Komunikatif. Before that, izinkan saya untuk berbahasa Melayu. Seterusnya, kita ke pengajaran dan pembelajaran bagi khusus MPU 3112M, Bahasa Melayu Komunikatif. Antara aktiviti yang dilakukan bagi membantu dalam penghasilan cerpen untuk tugasan pentaksiran berterusan yang ketiga ialah kami telah menganalisis beberapa contoh cerpen daripada Arkib Ilham Kreatif. Elemen-elemen yang dianalisis dalam cerpen ialah mengenal pasti unsur retorik dalam penulisan dan gaya bahasa yang terdapat dalam cerpen tersebut. Aktiviti ini melibatkan critical thinking yang merupakan elemen daripada 6C di mana kami perlu menganalisis setiap perkara ataupun gaya bahasa retorik dan membentangkannya di kelas bagi menunjukkan tahap kefahaman yang lebih mendalam. Jadi di sini boleh lihat medan yang kami gunakan untuk menunjukkan analisis cerpen tersebut ialah kami menggunakan Google Site untuk menunjukkan antaranya gaya bahasa kreatif itu melibatkan personifikasi dan juga metafora. Aktiviti seterusnya yang kami lakukan untuk pengajaran dan pembelajaran dalam kelas ialah kami telah mencari contoh cerpen daripada pelbagai sumber. Sebagai contoh, kami mendapatkan contoh cerpen bukan sahaja daripada buku teks atau buku rujukan yang lain, tetapi daripada laman sesawang yang berbeza. Hal ini melibatkan elemen 3E iaitu enhancement, di mana belajar dari luar buku teks dengan merujuk kepada laman sesawang yang berkaitan. Seterusnya, elemen yang juga terlibat ialah collaboration daripada model NFC, iaitu menjalinkan rangkaian ataupun hubungan antara pelajar dan juga pensyarah. Melalui aktiviti ini telah berlaku beberapa interaksi antara pelajar dan juga pensyarah bagi membantu dalam penghasilan tugasan pentaksiran berterusan yang ketiga. Dalam masa yang sama, bagi khusus storytelling in ESL Classroom, juga berlaku aktiviti lebih kurang yang sama, iaitu kami juga mencari contoh-contoh folklore daripada laman sesawang bagi membantu dalam penghasilan tugasan pentaksiran berterusan yang kedua, iaitu e-portfolio. Akhir sekali, aktiviti ini juga berkait rapat dengan model rakan pembelajaran, iaitu rakan pembelajaran. Kami telah berhubung dengan pelajar pengkhususan bahasa Inggeris daripada IPG Batu Lintang untuk bertukar pendapat dan juga berkongsi idea. Melalui aktiviti ini, kami dapat berinteraksi dengan pelajar daripada IPG Batu Lintang dan juga kami sendiri daripada IPG Kampus Pendidikan Islam dan membandingkan sumber-sumber contoh cerpen tersebut bagi mendapat contoh cerpen yang terbaik untuk membantu dalam penghasilan pentaksiran berterusan yang ketiga. So, that is all for me. I will pass to Norman to explain on the next matter.
Thank you very much, Muaz. My name is Norman, and I will be presenting on the teaching and learning in TSLB 3483, or storytelling in the primary ESL classroom. So, from this course, we did various storytelling activities, and with this, it encouraged us to create creative storytelling methods. So we really had to start brainstorming, and we had to figure out how to make our storytelling experience unique and capture the interest of our listeners. And we also learned to cultivate an emotional bond with the audience, meaning that we, as a storyteller, created an emotional connection with the audience, the listener, by making them participate with the story and feel included in the story. And then, last but not least, it also encouraged us to exchange ideas. It promoted the exchange of ideas for continuous improvement. So all of us in the class give feedback on each other, and we also had to showcase our ideas on the Google site so that not just teachers, parents, or anyone who wants to conduct a storytelling activity with their kids can refer to our Google site for inspiration and leave their feedback on it. And these photos shows the activities that we did. So we did storytelling stones, clay sculpting, paper plate masks, and so on and so forth. And this photo shows one of the activities that we did by applying digital tools. So we utilized Canva as a tool to visualize the scenes, as to make an imagery of our story. So we used like a lot of the elements, the free elements from Canva, to create the scenes from the story that we are trying to deliver. And next up, we also conducted an impromptu storytelling or storytelling box. And from this activity, we were able to foster a safe environment in the classroom, which means that all of us feel comfortable and safe enough to do mistakes, because everyone allowed each other to have the opportunity to improve and to practice our speaking skills. Everyone encouraged each other to speak spontaneously in English, and from this we also had to think creatively on how we had to form these sentences in English and then create a coherent plot using English. And these are the photos showing the activity that we conducted. And then, last but not least, we also had a story creation activity. And from this activity, it helped to strengthen our creativity in writing original stories, of course. And not only that, it emphasizes on, encouraged us to critically evaluate key lessons and takeaways from the story. So we're not just writing stories randomly. No, we had to genuinely analyze whether or not children, primary learners, will absorb the knowledge and message of the story properly and actually internalize the values that the story is trying to deliver. We really had to enhance the message of the story. And this is the activity showing the story creation, where we had to present our original story in the classroom, and we had to apply suitable storytelling methods to do that. And then thank you very much. That is all from me. I will now be passing this to Malia.
Last but not least, I'll be explaining the impacts that we are able to obtain by learning both of these subjects. So first of all, it improves our critical thinking and creativity, where we have to make creative materials in order to attract students to learn about storytelling. We also use language-based activities as well as hands-on and interactive learning. The next impact is application of digital tools. We use digital tools such as Google Sites and Canva throughout our continuous assessment, as well as during teaching and learning session. So the use of digital platform and apps are very widened, and then technology-based language activities are used during the whole learning process, as well as hands-on digital practice. And last but not least, it increases our confidence. We speak without grammatical mistake, which can be boost our confidence in formal and informal question. Communication. Can we cut that though? Can, right? Okay. Korang cut je. Last but not least, the last impact, it increases our own confidence. So from here, we can see that we have to present a story in front of the camera as well as our friends. So speaking without grammatical mistake boosts our confidence in formal and informal communication. And for the Malay subject, it boosts our confidence in creating story by try and error of the certain. What the hell? Macam nak cakap? And lastly, as well as boost confidence in creating story for another subject. Jump. And boost confidence in creating story in the Bahasa Melayu subject. So that's all from us. Thank you very much.